Can you all hear me now? I did some rearranging stuff. So, oh my goodness, I didn't know you couldn't hear me. I knew you could see me, but I thought I had gotten the sound part taken care of. You still can't hear me. What the heck? What's going on? You can't hear me. Give me a minute. I'll get it. I will get it. That's not going to work. Okay, microphone. Volume went back off. Okay, now, can you all hear me now? Let me know. I tell you, these technical stuff can get kind of crazy. So it went back off. It came on and went back off. So I switched it back to where it was when you guys said you could hear me. So somebody type in quickly yes or no, you can hear me. I need to know, can you hear me? So yes. Perfect. Okay, now we're cooking with gas now. Thank you so much. I am so sorry for all of that. I checked. I know you guys can't tell it, but I did a lot of straightening up and cleaning up and moving things around in my studio, and I unplugged everything that I had and moved things around and so forth and so on. And so I had to plug everything back up, including my webcam and computers, and I still don't have my other monitor working yet. I didn't get around to that. So anyway, that's why the sound thing wasn't right, because I had to plug things back in, and apparently taking it off and putting it back on jacked up the sound thing. I checked the video, I just didn't check the audio. So sorry for that. But like I was saying, thank you guys for stopping in, and thank you to all the people out in YouTube land and in Facebook land. And I'm not, let me see, all my channels on. I hope so. But you guys can see me, so I'm hoping everything is fine. And I do want to apologize for, was I not on last week? I don't think I was. Stuff is so crazy and I can't remember, but I do remember I was sick. So that's what happened with me last week. I was not on because I was really under the weather, didn't feel that well. So sorry about that. If that, yeah, that was last week, because we're going to now talk about tonight what we were supposed to talk about last Tuesday, which is embroidery machine or machine embroidery pet peeves, the things that frustrate you the most when you are doing embroidery. And I have to tell you, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. So I want everybody to participate and answer the questions, put in your little 2 cents so we can start talking about it, because I know everybody has some things that really irritate them to the nth degree about embroidery, even though we do love doing it. And even though the things that irritate me the most is nothing that would stop me from doing embroidery. But I have to tell you, sometimes you just need to vent. And tonight will be kind of like our venting, but it also will be part of our solution. So the things that we're complaining about, I guess, would be the best word to use. Try to come up with solutions as well. So hopefully we can be able to do that. So it's the little things that really irritate you the most. And I know I have quite a few of them that kind of get on my last nerve. And one of the questions that I do want you guys to put into the chat in a minute would be, so you have time to think about it so we can start talking about it, is what is the one embroidery problem that frustrates you the most? Just give it a good thought while I say hi to everybody. What is the one embroidery problem that frustrates you the most? So think about that and please put that in the chat. So I'm going to go through and say hi to everybody while you're doing that. So I have Jenny, hi Jenny, and Becky, and Angela Daniels. Who else? Robin, and who else? Val. Yeah, I think anybody else. I think those are the ones that I have in here so far. Hopefully, I did not. I don't think I missed anybody. You guys were helping me with my sound, so I got a lot of different messages on here, but it's basically letting me know about the sound. So anyway, so hopefully we'll get more people on pretty soon, and hopefully they will realize that I am on tonight. I tried to put a little thing out there to let everybody know that I was coming on tonight, and so more and more people hopefully will come. And I did put the right time, I think 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 o'clock my time. And yes, thank you, Val, for reminding me. It is St. Patrick's Day. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Everybody that's online, everybody that is watching on YouTube, everybody that's watching on Facebook, and anybody that comes in later on. Also, those that will be watching the replay, happy St. Patrick's Day. I really had hoped to put on a green St. Patrick's shirt. I don't really celebrate it that often, but I was going to put on a green shirt, and I tell you, time just got away from me because, like I said, I've been working in my studio trying to get everything reorganized, cleaned up, put away. I had so much stuff here, there, and everywhere that I literally had gotten to the point where I couldn't find anything that I needed. It was frustrating me, and that is one of the things that I have on my list. And I said, I have to stop and do something about it. So, as I said, embroidery pet peeves, the things that drive stitchers crazy. And I'm going to go ahead and start with one that we have talked about ad nauseum, but it is part of the things that tend to frustrate just not just me, but based upon the data that I was collecting doing this, is design hoarding. And of course, as we have said, many embroiderers have thousands of designs, but we only use a small percentage. And one of the reasons for that is because designs are usually cheap, especially during a sale, and we tend to get tempted. We also have the instant download, so it's easy to get, and also they're cute. You go online, your favorite places, and you see these designs, and they have examples of how they look stitched out and everything, and you say, "Oh, this is so cute! I would love to do this for my child, my grandchild, my great grandchild, or my customer, or whatever," and you download it with the plan to actually use it, but then something comes up and you never do, and it just goes into the design cookie jar, whatever it is that you use to store your designs, and it never gets used. So the temptation is there. And the other thing that happens, I know for me sometimes, everybody else is doing it. So you want to try it out and see, try your hand at that particular design or what have you. And you tend to go and buy it and try it and what have you and do it one time. I'm guilty of that. I'll buy something, I'll do it one time, and I'm done. And I just specifically bought it just so I could try to see how I stitched out. Rarely is it because I'm selling it or giving it away or using it myself. It's usually that is curiosity. So that can be, you know, I don't necessarily see it for myself as a pet peeve, but it was listed as one of the top pet peeves. And hi, Soul Pearls Creation. Hi, thank you for stopping by. Um, so some people collect designs like people collect shoes, and I know I used to be a big collector of shoes. No longer do that because I don't wear heels and stuff a lot anymore, and all of the really cute shoes are always these real tall heels. So I'm not going around collecting shoes because I wear low shoes, low heel, flats, tennis shoes, stuff like that, and I don't want to buy a whole bunch of those. So that's one. The other one, another one, is overcomplicated designs. That can be a pet peeve. You get designs that have tons of colors, 30 colors, 20 colors, even 15 colors can be considered a lot, especially if you are using a single needle machine. And I know for me, I am just now really paying more and more attention to the types of designs that I buy and specifically the number of colors because I do have a 10 needle machine and that's what I use mostly, but I also was buying designs where you needed to do 15, 20, 30 plus color changes. I've had some as many as 40 plus. And even though I have a multi-needle machine, even if I had a 20 needle machine, that still would be frustrating because you still have to change your thread. And that can become very daunting and, overwhelming and frustrating because I know when I'm doing some of the designs that require me to have to change my whole 10 needle set more than once, I'm really frustrated because it's just extra work and you have to keep up when you're supposed to change what needle number and what color needs to go on that needle so it will fit in the design. So I'm constantly using a pad where I have to write it down and assign numbers to different colors and remember to change number 7 to pink, but it was white. And then after a while, number 7 is going to have to be yellow because I have so many colors I have to do. And you really have to have a list to follow it to make sure that you get your design stitched out in the correct color sequence. And that can be very daunting and very frustrating. So that's a pet peeve. Unnecessary trims, which are jump stitches. And I have to tell you, jump stitches. Robin, you said a ton of jump stitches, and Val, you said really disc designs, and that's one that's on the list as well. Jump stitches frustrate me to no end, especially, and I know it's part of my perfectionist type A, the ones that are so close and tight together that is really hard to get in between, like you're doing letterings and you want to cut the stitches in between letters and it's so tight you barely can do it. It frustrates me because for me, I don't like that stitch in there. I don't like the stitch between when you're doing a lowercase I or J and you want to get rid of that little stitch where the dot is and it's so tight, it really frustrates me. So jump stitches I have on here is at the top of my list of pet peeves. So Robin, you and I are thinking alike. And then Val, like you said, dense designs. And um, everybody's not really confident enough to adjust the um, density of a design or think about the fact that maybe I can't use this particular design on this particular blank that I really want to use it. Therefore, I'm going to have to come up with a different idea, which that has happened to me on several occasions where I realize, well, this is just too dense for this particular garment or whatever I'm using because the density can really make throw things off. You're using the wrong fabric and the wrong stabilizer depending upon the density. And also keep in mind, it could just be a badge digitizing, depending upon who did it, where you bought it. So it's important that you know the quality of work of the digitizer that you're purchasing your designs from. And I continue to stress, and I will continue to stress, be very careful when you're buying designs off of Etsy. I am not saying you can't get good designs off of Etsy because you can, and I have. But you also can get some pretty messed up designs on Etsy as well because I have. So you need to be very aware of that and at most try to do a stitch out before you put it on your final blank to make sure it's going to stitch the way you want it to stitch on the fabric that you want to stitch it on. Because I tell you, there have been times that I have purchased designs off of Etsy and they did not stitch well, even though I looked at the ratings and the comments and all of those kinds of things. I try to do that, and you still can have a boo boo. So just be careful. I try as much as possible to stick to the design companies that I'm familiar with and used to. Some of the bigger ones that are very popular and proven to have good designs that stitch out well. Like, of course, Embroidery Library, designed by Juju, Embroidery Garden, what else? Sweet Pea. It's quite a few embroidery designs, and one thing of well, embroidery designs. I really haven't had a bad stitch out with their designs. Some of their free designs aren't the most desirable for me, but I've never had one that stitched out bad. They were just a little bit too simple for me, I guess is where I'm going. But there's a lot of good design um, sites that you can get good designs from and feel confident that it's going to stitch out well. But then you still have to keep in mind on the blank of the fabric that you're putting it on because it may not be appropriate for that. So just make sure you keep that in mind. And Pearl, you said you thought you were the only one that hated jump stitches. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of us. Um, being a perfectionist, that's also part of the overcomplicated designs. I know for me, I'm impelled to redo my design, even if it has the most minute error or not quite right, not 100% right. It's almost like when you're doing quilting, which I'm extremely new at quilting, but my perfectionist uh, personality pushes me to work hard to make sure my points match up. And if I can't get my point to match up, I am ripping this thing out two, three, four times sometimes just to get it to match up, not realizing you're stretching your fabric out of shape anyway. So you probably won't ever get it to match up now. And sometimes you just have to accept it as it is. And nobody else recognizes the mistake but you, because you know what it's supposed to look like. And that's part of the problem that I have and what frustrates me, because I know that I can be a perfectionist when I'm embroidering something and I look at it, and especially if it's in the hoop and I have to take it off and put it together and what have you, and the seam doesn't quite match, or you got a little loop here, or you missed a stitch there or something. I'm always trying to figure out how to go back and fix that. So I tell you, that can be frustrating as well. And it basically says tiny details no one will see but you. And you just frustrate yourself, stress yourself out if you are at all like I am. And if you guys are, if anybody's like that, let me know, because I know that's how I am. And I really don't like that about myself, because it can become time consuming, especially if I put myself in a position, which I've done on several occasions, to redo the whole thing. I have made something and it looks really well, but it's one little thing that's off. And I say, oh crap, I'm gonna do this whole thing over. And I do. I end up doing the whole thing over. And sometimes you fix the mistake, and sometimes it messes up the same way it did the first time. So it gets to be a bit much. So don't forget to put in the chat, what is one embroidery problem that frustrates you the most. A couple of people put in density and jump stitches. So I know there are other things, and I'm pretty sure I'll get to them, but I just want to know if we're all kind of on the same page with this. So, um, perfect, it says perfect Instagram projects. Or it doesn't have to be Instagram. Instagram pretty much means people have made a design or a project or something and posted it, and you look at it and it is absolutely gorgeous. Everything looks 100% perfect. Or you've watched a tutorial and the end product comes out 100% perfect with no errors in the process of that tutorial, and you try to replicate that and you come up with all kinds of issues. That's frustrating. That is extremely frustrating. The thing that you have to keep in mind, and I know I can be guilty of this as well, you don't always see the trial and error part. Usually, if when I'm doing my tutorials and I do a demo of putting something together or a design, I have already done this once or twice prior to me making a video of it. I don't make a video of a process that I haven't already tried off camera, because mistakes happen, issues occur, something may not work exactly right, and you got to figure out how to fix it. And the reason I do that, me personally, is because I'm not trying to put out the facade that I don't mess anything up when I'm doing a project. My goal when I do a tutorial is a learning process. It's a lesson. So I want to show you how it's supposed to be done. So if I mess it up, I'm not showing you how it's supposed to be done. I'm showing you how not to do it. And that's not my goal. My goal is to show you how it's supposed to be done, so you can watch it over and over again with it being done correctly, so you can do it correctly. If you, I have, and I just got a message by connection. I'm hoping I'm not having any issues here. Everybody, it looks fine. So if you guys start seeing anything on your end, please let me know. But but when I'm watching a tutorial, demo, or whatever it is, and somebody makes a mistake, that's perfectly fine because mistakes happen. But it does frustrate me a little bit, and I'm going to be honest about it because my whole goal was to learn how to do it, not to see the mistake. And maybe that's not fair, but that's kind of how I think about it because you got to wait till that person figures out how to get it correctly. So it prolongs the video, and sometimes they may or may not get it corrected in the time frame they've allotted for the video. So you still didn't learn how to do it. So that's my pet peeve is um, you know, the perfection. Let people know that I've already stitched this out. This is some of the problems that can happen, but this is the correct way of doing it. That's kind of how I go. I don't know how you guys feel about it. So I had a few more people to hop in. Let me say hi to Marina and Danielle. Let me see who else has come in. And Pearl, you say you think you're like that being a perfectionist because I'm assuming that's what you're responding to because you think it's because you worked in quality control years back and you still carry that trait. Everything has to be right. Yeah, I get you on that. And Marina, you said I hate when I stitch a satin stitch or a run stitch and doesn't fully complete and you have a stray loop on top. Then you have to use your snag tool to pull it through to get on to pull it through the backside to get rid of it. Yeah, I don't like that either. And Danielle, so you're just checking in what's happening. We're talking about pet peeves in machine embroidery, Danielle. Put it in. Tell people what your pet peeve is. I know you probably have some, girl. And Marina, you said, how about when your outline stitches off and you have to grab a Sharpie to fill it in when you got off register? Yep. You didn't know that was going to happen. Let me see. And hi, Kingsbury Craft. How you doing? And happy St. Patrick's Day to you as well. So, what else about the Instagram? People not using correct stabilizer or too much stabilizer, not enough stabilizer. I've seen some of all of it. And also, basically, what I said, people not test stitching the project before they go out to do it, or they do it like I said that I do when I do my tutorial. Usually when I'm putting it out there, it comes out correctly, but that doesn't mean that I haven't had any issues. What it does mean is I did the practice, I did the practice before I made the tutorial. And my advice to any and everybody, when you're watching a tutorial, especially when everything is perfect, be aware that you may not get it perfect the first time. I remember so well the year that we did those Christmas tree skirts, and that was such a job that I think I'll never forget it. And we were watching Becky Thompson from Power Tools and Thread, and she had a video showing us how to put it together. And we watched it and was going by her directions, which were extremely in depth and very informative. But the one thing, she didn't show any mistakes. Every time she would put the seams together, they would come out perfect. She put the seams together, they come out perfect. Here's another part, put the seams together, they come out perfect. So when we started working on ours and doing the exact process that she told us to do to put the seams together for them to come out perfect, they didn't always come out perfect. It was like, wait a minute, how come hers is coming out perfect and ours aren't coming out perfect? We have to keep fooling around with it and everything to get it perfect. And it did. So it kind of made you say, okay, like this is not full disclosure here. And it was so funny because we kept thinking about how is she able to get hers perfect on the first try, whereas we aren't getting our seams, and we're doing the exact same thing she told us to do to make the seams match up perfectly, put the pin in and the whole 9 yard, and it still didn't come out perfect. And Becky said, "Yeah, it didn't work for us." It didn't. It was funny though. We were laughing about it because it's like this ain't working. And every one of hers was perfect. So we're just like, yeah, we're going to do this and it's going to come out perfect. And nope, they did. It was close, but it wasn't perfect. But what I learned from that, to be honest about, I still use that technique, Becky, but I am aware that it may or may not be perfect. So it doesn't surprise me if it's off a little bit, but it does work to make it as close as possible. And the Becky said, but it's easy now. And it is easy. It is easy. But I tell you, that was so funny. We were like, what's wrong with us? It's not coming out like she said. But it was trial and error and practice, which you don't see that when you're looking at the tutorial. Um, and then they also mentioned failures because sometimes you will keep working on it and you'll never get it. I have tried some projects, and I have to be honest, but I have still yet to get it correctly, uh, done correctly. I keep telling myself I'm going to try it again because that's the perfectionist in me. If I try something and I don't get it right the first time, if I have the time, I will keep working on it and working on it and working on it to try to get it right. Why? Because I don't want to be defeated. I feel if you can do it, I should be able to do it. So I got to keep working on it to figure out what am I doing wrong, and the reason why I can't get it done. But yeah, that could be a pet peeve there. Number four is cheap embroidery expectation. People outside embroidery think they should be able to pay for an embroidered towel or something like that for about $5. Yeah, we've talked about pricing. Pricing is a huge issue and it can develop into a pet peeve, especially if you are doing embroidery for a business of some kind, or even if you're making something for somebody that they asked you to make, and then you tell them, they ask you, well, how much you charge, and you tell them, and then they look at you like you have 10 heads. It's kind of like, well, you don't understand what all goes into making this beautiful project look the way it's going to look when you get it. It's not just put it in the machine and walk away. It's more to it. So yes, it is going to cost. Um, the customer expectation regarding the time that it takes, because you can get people that want what we call a rush order. They bring you their project tonight and they want it in the morning. No, that's not going to work. They don't want to pay the price that you say. If they want it for $10 and you may charge 15. I was in, I believe it was Home Goods the other day, and I was looking at some embroidered. Some of them were embroidered, some of them weren't, but they were decorative towels. And it was interesting to see that what they were priced at compared to what my towels are priced at. But I had to realize that does put a whole big damper on that business, to be honest about, as far as towels and everything, because it's a difficult uh, product to sell because people don't want to pay what you're charging, plus they have to pay for shipping. So it makes it expensive. And I get it compared to what you can pay in a place like Home Goods or Target or Walmart or whatever. But they're not looking at the difference in the quality, the fact that it's custom, and it's handmade, so it's not manufactured in a factory where you're getting a machine to do everything. So you can't expect to pay the same price or less if you do it that way versus going to a discounted store or something. So, and it's hard to get people to understand that, which, you know, that goes for a shirt, that goes for a hoodie, a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a jacket, any type of a bag, anything that you make um, handmade, it's probably going to cost more than what they may be able to get something that they consider similar in a store versus what you're charging. But they're not looking at the fact that this is something that is unique. No one has one exactly like yours, and it's handmade. It's going to cost a little bit more. And hopefully, customers will some do and some don't. The ones that don't understand that, they're not your customers, unfortunately. Because as we know, you have to take in the cost of your time, your skill, as well as the tangibles, which are stabilizer, thread, the machine itself, um, the design, everything has to be considered when you're setting your price, or you're not going to make any money at all. And also the blank that you're using, whether you purchased the blank or they brought you the blank. If they brought the blank themselves, then you have to look at the quality of the blank. Some people want to bring you the cheapest thing they can find and expect for you to put this wonderful, extremely dense design on it, and that's not going to work. And even if you decided to do that, which is not a good idea at all, then they're going to be saying that you don't know what you're doing and your work isn't good quality and so forth and so on, because it didn't come out the way they had expected it to come out. It didn't look as well as they had expected. But you can't make it, look better if you didn't start off with the right fabric, with the right. I mean, if you bring me a $3 shirt and you want me to put a dense design on this $3 shirt and expect for it to look wonderful with all the satin stitching and everything, that's not going to happen. And even if you made it look good, you're going to have to stabilize it pretty good. So again, it's not going to look the way they expected it to look, because it may be heavily stabilized just to get it to look right or to stitch right. So people don't understand that. So that can be a, you know, that's not so much a pet peeve for me per se, because I've been lucky enough, and I guess is people don't usually ask you to make them something that they're not already pretty much aware. At least most of the people I've dealt with. I've had a few that haven't, but most of the people that I've dealt with kind of understand that they may be paying a better, a more premium price than what they would if they went to Walmart or someplace to get a design or something done. So I haven't really had any pushback on my prices, because I don't charge a huge amount. I think I charge a fair amount, and I don't haggle. I don't deviate. My price is my price. And if you don't like the price, then that's okay, but I won't do your job. So, and I make that clear up front, and I also make it clear up front that I get paid before I do the job, because once I've done the job and you don't pay me, I'm stuck like Chuck. I don't care if it is your blank that you brought. I still have all of my thread and time and stabilizer invested that I can't get back. You will not get your product, but I won't get my money, so we both lose. So no, once everything has been approved, the design has been approved, the stitch out has been approved, then give me my money. And then you'll get your product. And that's just how I roll. And that's how I suggest that all of you do. Get paid up front. Do not do anything before you get paid, because you cannot make people pay you after the fact. once you've already made the commitment and put it on the machine and stitched it out, you can't make anybody pay you, even though you may have a contract and the whole 9 yard. It's going to cost you more to litigate that than it is for what you're going to make. So you still lose. And that's, you don't want to do that. You don't even want to put yourself in that position. Um, the other one, which is kind of what I was dealing with this week, I know I told you guys when I first came on that I had been spending a lot of time in my room. You probably can't tell. I can tell. Cleaning it up, straightening it up, reorganizing. I got rid of so much stuff. It's not even funny. I got rid of boxes and stuff that had stacked up, and fabric that had eh, built up, blanks that had just piled up, and everything. So everything has found a place, and everything has been discarded that I didn't need. But basically, number 5 is craft room overload. My room was so overloaded, I didn't even want to come in it. I could not find anything. Where is this and where is that? I know I have it, but I don't know where it is. It's under this, it's somewhere. I stuck it here, I stuck it there, and I can't find it. Then you go out and buy another one. Next thing you know, you have 2 or 3 or 4 or more of the exact same thing because you don't have everything organized and put into a proper place where you can find it and you have it. Hi Carol, how you doing? Just fill up on corn. Oh, you just filled up on corned beef and you're there. Okay, corned beef and cabbage. I love it. My husband doesn't, so I rarely make it. So uh, I hope you had enough for me. And I didn't buy any, but anyway, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. And yeah, the corned beef sounds really good because I do love corned beef and cabbage as well. But yeah, too many hoops, too much thread, too much stabilizer, too many notions, too many fabrics, all of that. I remember saying, and I don't even know if Leslie's on here yet, but you guys from the social society know we've had this conversation, and you've heard me say, well, I don't have a lot of fabric. I don't have a lot of fabric because, several of you guys said, well, I just go to my stash. I don't go buy fabric. I go to my stash and find what I need to make XYZ. And I was like, well, I don't have a lot of fabric. I don't have this. I have to tell you, I have to backtrack on that now. I am now, and Leslie, hi, how are you? You just stopped in, and I just mentioned your name, and I was talking about you. So how are you doing, Leslie? But again, I was talking about using your stash and me saying that I didn't have a lot of fabric. What I have found and realized with my cleaning up and everything that I've been doing is that I have an awful lot of fabric. I got a whole bunch of fabric that I didn't even realize I had because I have them in drawers. And um, pulling them out because I'm in the process now of trying to organize them by color. And I'm setting them up in this, it's like a bookcase, and I'm wrapping them up on these little cardboard pieces, kind of like how they have them looking on boats in a store. But mine, of course, are going to be small. That white thing that's behind me, that stack of white things, those are the cardboard pieces. They call them comic book boards or something. Anyway, with that, and I'm wrapping them up on that and stacking them on my in the bookshelf. And I just knew this big bookshelf is like 6 uh, shelvings. This is gonna be plenty for my fabric. Mm-mm. I haven't even pulled any fabric out any of those drawers yet, and it is looking, it's not full. I still got quite a bit left, but it's more, I have way more fabric that I had in bags and stuff sitting around than that I had already folded and put in my drawers. So I know I'm not going to be able to put all of my fabric on my bookcase in the little neat little stacks that I wanted to, but I will be able to have it organized a little bit better than what it is. And the reason why I decided to do that in the course of me cleaning up and trying to get more organized is that I wanted to be able to find what I have and not constantly going out buying it. You know, if you need red fabric, pink fabric, blue fabric, what have you, I got it somewhere. And usually I'm not doing garments or anything. So usually, even if it's a fat quarter or a half a yard or something, it's usually going to be enough to do what I want to do because mostly I would be doing like appliques and stuff. So, or like a tote or something along that line. So I probably have enough of particular colors to do those kinds of things with. But when you can't see it right off, it's just like your thread. Because I'm even thinking about putting my thread back up on my pegboard. Because when you can't look and see your thread or your fabric or even your stabilizer, then you don't remember oftentimes that you have it. Therefore, you're out buying more. And that's how you get that craft room overload. You're out buying more scissors. You're out buying more seam rippers and nips, all ki- all kinds of things that you probably have purchased and stuck in a drawer somewhere. I have a drawer full of zippers. And I know I have a drawer full of zippers. They're not the most expensive zippers. I got them off of Amazon, a big bag full of them, different sizes. And I'm realizing that some of them I can use, some of them I can't, especially when I'm making bags and stuff. It's like, okay, this ain't the right kind of zipper. So I got all of these zippers that I probably won't ever use them, but I need to make sure that I use what I can before I start buying more zippers. So I'm always pulling them out. I have tons of ribbon, just stuff that you have. But if you don't see it, you forget that you have it, then you end up buying more. And that's where we get our overload. So, the other thing they talk about hoops. Now, I don't have a whole bunch of hoops and I use all my hoops. So that part is not a big deal with me. But some people, I'm assuming, I don't know, according to the statistics, they buy too many hoops. I don't buy too many hoops. I do recommend those hoops that you use often that you have at least two of them because it saves on your time. Um, and the different sizes, you know, you don't need every size that's available, especially if you're doing mighty hoops. You don't have to have every size that will fit your machine. Use the sizes of the projects that you normally do. I just bought a sleeve um, mighty hoop, 9 by 3. And the only reason I did that is because I started doing more sleeves and I was using a different hoop. And I realized that maybe if I go ahead and invest in the sleeve hoop, I can get more of what it is I'm trying to stitch on the sleeve. So I invested in that. But I've been doing sleeves for the longest using my 5 by 5 to be perfectly honest about it, especially if I'm putting it in a hoodie or something and not even having to take it loose at all. It will fit. Arms are big. It will fit in here. If you're not down here, if you up in here, it will fit. And I've used it. So it has worked. And especially if you go closer to the shoulder and stuff, I don't have any trouble. This design that I have on my shoulder here, 5 by 5. I didn't use a sleeve hoop at all. So, you know, you can use what you have. So I don't really have a whole lot of excess hoops. Now, threads, that's a different story. I have lots of different colors of threads. Um, but I don't think I have, well, I don't think I'm a thread overload, but I do know that I don't need to buy a lot more thread. That much I know. I think I got a lot. And as far as my stabilizer is concerned, I have too much of some, not enough of the other. Because I use mostly my no-show mesh. I use water soluble. I use Vilene and very little cutaway, uh, regular cutaway, and very little tearaway. So I do have that, and that's where I have more stabilizer than I probably need because I bought all of these big things of the cutaway and the tearaway before I start using my no-show mesh. So I haven't used that a lot. I've used no-show mesh the most, so I'm constantly reordering that. But the other ones I use occasionally, every once in a while. I don't use them a lot because I prefer having the no-show mesh because it does exactly what it says. It does not show through your t-shirts, doesn't show through your hoodies or your sweatshirt, and it stitches very well. And you really do not have to double it. So um, that works for me. Uh, do, 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 do. The other thing is, which I definitely was guilty of in the very first few years of my embroidery journey, was buying everything the influencers suggested. If I'm watching a content creator and religiously, as I would say, and they would say, go buy this, or this is what I use, or what have you, then I felt like I needed to get that particular notion or whatever it is. And I accumulated a lot of stuff I still have that I have maybe used one time. Not to say that it was not a useful product, it just wasn't something that I needed because I don't do whatever that was enough to be using it. Um, Perfect example, I have a lot of rhinestones. I love rhinestones. I just don't do a lot of rhinestones, but I bought a lot of rhinestones back in the day, and I'm now getting in my mind that I'm gonna, because all this rhinestone stuff has come back into popularity. You know, the trends change, and so I said I'm gonna make me some more shirts and what have you with my rhinestones. But you know, I bought up, I even joined. I don't know if some of you guys remember that Eve, before she started, Eve from the Baby's Booty, before she started selling her own rhinestone, she was using and recommended So Creative rhinestones, and I bought a bunch of the So Creative rhinestones. I even joined their monthly rhinestone of the month box. I used to get one every month, and I was getting more and more and more and more, and finally stopped doing it because I realized I wasn't using them. I'm just collecting them, and I'm not using them. Even the hot fix and the ones, I forgot what you call them, but it's the ones that you actually have to glue on like you're doing tumblers and what have you. You actually take them and place them on, and you know you're using the glue are the hot fix that you use, like what I have on this shirt. These are hot fix. So I got a bunch of that. Um, what else did I just different little notions and stuff, you know, people, this works, that works, get this, do this, this is what I have. We were talking about just before I came on, a friend of mine, we were talking about different mini irons, and it's like, girl, I got like 4 or 5 mini irons. Why? Oh, so and so said this is a good iron. So and so said that's a good iron. This is a good iron. Try this iron. Try that iron. And you just kind of go with the flow. So it is so easy to buy stuff simply because somebody recommends it. That's not. I'm not going to say don't do it, but what I am going to say is make sure you need it. Try, just think about what the project is that they recommended this particular object for. Is this something that you're going to do a lot of? And especially like something like rhinestone. It's okay to get one roll of flock and a roll of transfer paper and a few little rhinestones and see if you're going to like it before you start buying just whole bunches of it and just having a collection because they're not cheap. Now I never did buy the big huge collection of rhinestones like she's selling now, and the reason being is because I still have a bunch of rhinestone I have not used, and they're in smaller jars. But that tells me right now if I got a lot of little jars this size, don't know how many rhinestone comes in it, but enough to do quite a bit with. I didn't need the big jar of rhinestone. I haven't even used this. So I didn't buy anymore. And I'm glad I haven't because I don't need them. If I get to the point where I do need to add to my stash, then I will. I mean, I got rhinestones, I have pearls, I have neon stones, I got the hot fix, I got the glue on, I have all of those. I ain't used none of them. Oh, just a few, just a few. I see a few more people that have come in. Cindy, Zach Ball, how are you? Thank you for stopping in. Marissa Crafts, how are you? And Carol, you came in. Let me see who else stopped in that I haven't spoken to. Yeah, I said hi to Leslie. Let me see. Let me see what the conversation is. And Angela said you organizing your files, I guess, would be one of your pet peeves, I'm assuming. Um, and Leslie, you said you heard me talking about you. Okay. And Mrs. Parker, how are you? You're a newbie. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Do appreciate it. And Marissa, happy Tuesday. My craft room was packed also until I switched room. I'm still sorting and getting rid of stuff. Yep, it can grow on you. And Danielle said, how in the world did this happen? You always said you didn't have any fabric. That's true. Oh. And Carol said, being able to see your stash all at once is so helpful. And that's where I want to get you. You are so correct because and my hope is to be able to fill up my bookcase that I purchased. It's not a huge one, but but I want to put everything in color coded as much as possible. So I know what I have. Pinks and blues and yellows and creams and blacks and reds and all that kind of stuff. Have them close so when I'm looking to do something, there they are. Just like I do my threads when I have them on my pegboard, I have them color coded. In my drawer, it's a little hard to keep them color coded because I don't have the pegs in there. They're just kind of standing up in there, and when you're in and out, they get kind of mixed matched a little bit. That's one reason why I want to put them back up on the board because I want to get them back in a color coded system because it helps me to know what colors I have. It helps me know how to pick the right color green or the right color blue or what have you because I'm not one that constantly that has to go exactly by the color that is recommended on the designs. I try to stick as close as possible, especially if it's a scenery or something like that, so we can get the shadings and stuff correct. But I do use my own creative licensing. So if I'm looking for a particular blue shade of blue and I have 6 or 7 different shades very close together, if I'm looking at it on the board a little bit far away, then I can kind of tell the difference in the shades and try to pick the right shade for what it is I'm doing. So that's why I decided, yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to putting my threads on the board, on my pegboard, and that's what I want to do with my fabric, because I'm trying to get my life in order so I can be more productive. And with that, I will be doing more tutorials. I haven't done one in a year, so it's time for me to get back into that. Hi, Claudette. How are you? Thank you for stopping by as well. Let me see. Uh, who else? And Cindy said, "What state am I?" I'm in the state of Missouri. I am actually in Kansas City, Missouri. And Carol, you said my problem is I feel like I need to get all the things now while I'm working because our fun funds will be gone when I retire. Uh, yes and no. You will find a way, depending upon what it is. Some of the higher end things can be a little tricky to get, but for some reason, and I'm talking about myself, even though I work part time now, but before I went back to working part time, I still found a way to manage to be able to cure some of the little notions and what have you while retired. But I was like you, Carol. I started my embroidery journey while I was still working full time when I was in Florida. I was working full time when I started, and I had the same concept. Get all the stuff that you think you need now while you're working full time. And that's most of the big items and stuff that I bought, my hoops, my hooping station, my machines, obviously, various things that my printers and all of the kind of stuff that I knew that were going to cost, you know, a good penny. I uh, I got those while I was working. So and now that I've gone back to working part time, I am able to buy a few more things that I probably. That's probably why, Danielle, my fabric stash has grown. Cause even now that Joanne is out, it seems like I'm still buying fabric. I'm ordering fabric, and that's like, why are you ordering this fabric? What are you gonna do with it? So I don't know. But I have realized that I do have a nice fabric stash, so I can't say I'm not doing that. I don't have it, rather. And Cindy is saying, Carol, you're smart. Prices go up, so you really are saving money. Someone once said instead of a 401k, they have a 401f fund for fabric. Yeah. Just make sure you try to catch the fabric on sale if at all possible. I try to look at the different, like Hobby Lobby has fabric on sale 30% off every, it used to be 40%. Now it's 30% every other week. So try to make sure you go when it's on sale. You save 30%. And then the fabric shops that I buy from online, Shabby Fabric, Missouri Star, the Fabric Hut, someplace else. uh, just catch So Creative Lounge for the African fabric. I try to catch them when they are on sale. Yeah. So the craft room overload can definitely be something. Um, Keeping your studio neat and organized, that is difficult. So you'll have the ability to find what you need instead of buying multiple things because you can't find it. That's the other pet peeve that I have because I have done that. I have bought things because I know I have it. I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. I put it somewhere, but I don't remember where. I don't see it. So then you go buy it. And then after you buy it, then you find the one that you had missing. So now you have two or three or four, depending on how often you misplace it. So once you get your room organized, try to have a specific place that you put certain things, especially the things that you use all the time. And that's what I do try to do, to be honest about it. I honestly try my best, like my scissors, my tweezers, all of the things that I use when I'm doing applique, cutting and everything. I keep those things in a basket on my machine. They don't leave that area. I'll take it to my table, I'll use it, then I take it and put it right back on my cart on my machine because I can't live without those. I cannot live without my tweezers and my small applique scissors and my double curve applique scissors. Those stay on my cart because if I can't find them, I'm about to lose my mind because I use them constantly and I don't have anything else that works as well as the ones that I purchased. And they're specific. They're not just go pick something up. I pick the ones that I like that work, and I use them every day. Uh, Claudette said, I told my financial advisor that he needs to find money so I can buy fabric and a new machine. All righty. What kind of machine are you wanting to get? We had a long 2 3 weeks of conversation about budget machines and different machines and what have you. So I'm just curious, what are you looking at? And Pearl, you said, uh, I agree. Do it now while you're working because unexpected things come up after retirement, and money has to go other places out of your control. You say you're a witness to it. Yes, I agree with that 100%. And especially if you're looking at big ticket items, unless you have a lot of reserve money put away, which would be a blessing if that's the case, it's difficult to make a huge purchase like another multi needle machine. I would love to get a Melco from it. That ain't happening. I would love to get even the Luminaire if I could find one. Definitely can't afford the Avenir, not at this point because they still have it on the high end. But that's a commitment that I don't want to make uh, when your income has decreased because you do have to look at the fact that there are unexpected situations that can occur, and you also have to look at, well, for me, my age, my health, all of that kind of stuff that I have to take into consideration. And is this a good move? So yeah. So Carol, you say you love enabling your sisters. And hi, Quilt for Joy. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. And you say, yes, I purchased my retirement machine before retirement. Yep. I have the Genome. Okay, you got the Genomic Continental M17. No regrets. I love this machine, girl. I know. I've seen that machine at a expo, and I read up on it when it first came out, and I'm like you. I said, "Oh my goodness, this is a bad mamma jamma here. It'll give the Luminaire a run for his money." So yeah, I agree with you on that one. That's a nice machine. So congratulations to you on that. Yeah. Yeah, Robin said, yeah, nice machine. Yeah, I know that M17 is pretty nice. I I I looked at that machine. There was Was it the M7? It was a machine that came out a couple of years ago, and I can't remember if it's the M17 or another machine. But I said that machine does everything but pay the bill. It was almost like magic. It did so much. Maybe that's the machine. I can't remember. But it wasn't a brother. It was not a brother, and I'm thinking it was a Genome, but I'm not. I cannot remember what machine it was, but I was thoroughly impressed with that machine. It was a $25,000 machine, so of course I didn't write it down. And Joy, you said, I mean, Quilt for Joy, you said, I also have been purchasing AccuQuilt dyes for years, all on sale. I knew once I retired, I would be living in my sewing room. That's a smart thing. I uh, have just started. I got my AccuQuilt machine a year ago, and I did not realize how many dyes I had already purchased until I started cleaning up my room and organizing it. And I got more dyes than I thought I had. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 dyes and the cube and all of the dyes that come in the cube. And I just got started. And I had to slow down. Like, okay, these things are not cheap. They are not cheap. And you are not even a quilter. What are you doing with all these dyes? And Pearl, you said that's a nice machine. And Cindy said $24,000 more than our first house. Honey, these new single needle machines, because that's a single needle machine, like your what is Genome Continental M17, your Baby Lock Radiance, your Brother Avenir. All of those machines, manufacturer suggested retail price are running around 24, 25 G's. That's a lot. That's a car. That's a car. But yeah, it's a lot of money. Now, the one thing that I do have to say about that, if anybody is interested in buying these top of the line machines or any machine, shop around, talk to several different dealers, and see what prices you can get, what kind of haggling you can do, what kind of trade-in you may be able to make to bring those prices down, because you will be surprised. Some places will have manufacturer suggested retail price 24,000, and they'll sell it to you for that if you go in there and pay that for it. But you might be able to walk out of it with that machine for 20, 18, 16. You never know. You'll never know. Because I know when the 10 needle behind me was running for $20,000 when I saw it. I ain't paid no $20,000 for that machine. Trust and believe me, I didn't pay $20,000 for that machine. So and I was down in Florida over the holiday, and I saw an Avenir, and I talked to the lady about the Avenir, and that's a 20 allegedly 24 20 between 22 and $24,000 manufacturer suggested retail price wherever you go. And she told me cash and carry 15. Cash and carry 15. That's 10, almost 10 right off the top. So no, just look. Don't just say, okay, yeah, here's $24,000, because you can get bargains. Um, Quilt for Joy, you said maybe it was the Fox flagship machine. That is another amazing. It could have been. I don't remember what it was. I just know that machine. I was I was amazed at what it did. And I can't even remember now what it did. I just know it just amazed me. It was such a high tech, innovative machine. It did everything under the sun, and I was so impressed with it. But it was an arm and 17 legs. And Claudette, you say, I'm on the fence. I'm looking for a Grace long arm machine. My son wants me to buy a welcome multi-needle with him. He is a digitizer. Well, well, well. I ain't in that one. I'm not in that one. Only thing that I can say, they do have those baby graces. I don't remember exactly what they're called. I want to say Rebel. Might be the Rebel. But they're small. They'll fit on a regular size table. And it is a long arm. And it is much more affordable. I don't know right offhand the exact price. I know it's up in the thousands, but it's not nowhere near the regular size long Grace long arm. Um, but yeah, that would be cool. And Robin, you say you would love to have a long. I know you would, girl. I know you would, because you're amazing at what you are able to accomplish with the machine that you have. I am in awe of that. I can't, girl. I can't do half of that. Um, Pearl, wonder if I can trade my car. Now that's pretty cool right there. I wonder if I can trade in my car to get the genome in my car is paid for. That's a good one right there. That's a good one. We trading in cars now. I got a car out there that's paid for. Maybe I ought to think about. That's funny. That is funny. Okay, Danielle, you said the Little Rebel is about $2,300 because you played with it. You told us that you played with it. So yeah, $2,300 for the Little Rebel. That's kind of not too bad, girl. That's a start. So you might be able to get your Little Rebel and go in with your son on the multi needle machine. And depending upon what multi needle machine you decide to buy, honey, you never know. You might be able to accomplish them both. And Marissa said, I'm thankful for everything I have, and I'm going to keep the maintenance up on everything. I would like to have a larger hoop embroidery machine, but will keep hope alive. You like me. You, you're like me. That's exactly what I want. I promise you, I want a larger hoop machine, and I still have my hope alive that maybe one day I might be able to afford a machine. And I keep looking at different machines outside of the Avenir and the Radiance and those machines to see how big of a hoop can I get, and can't seem to get too much more than a 6 by 10. And I don't really want a 6 by 10 because that's not bigger than what I can do on my 10 needle. I want a hoop bigger than what I have on my 10 needle, or it doesn't make sense to buy. I was even looking at the pooling, which everybody, well, I ain't gonna say everybody, but there are people that say it's a good machine. But I think the pooling 7, C7, CO7, whatever it is like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 9 by 14. 9 by 14. And I said that's the nine part is what I don't like. I would like for it to be at least like a 10 by 14. Then that would be a little bit more tempting for me, because even at the 9 by 14, it's still a little. I don't think it's 9 by 14. It must be a 8 by 14 or something along that line. Because when I looked at it and thought about it, I said I'm not going to get anything any bigger than what I already can get. So what's the point? What is the point? Um, okay, Quilt for Joy. You said I got my machine for 12K with a custom made cabinet. That's cool. The cabinet is solid oak and the machine sits low enough, making it ergonomically correct. I think I got an excellent deal for a floor model. You did. What kind of machine did you get? What did you get? Robin, you said I test drive a no Claudette. You said I test drive the Bernina hand quilter Amara and the Grace. The Bernina was the smoothest, and the Amara in the middle, and the Grace is the most affordable. Okay, good, 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 good. And let me see. Where can I get this? Brother usually rolls out new machines in August, so trade in will be available then. Are they coming out with anything new this coming August since they came out with all those new machines? It'll be 2 years this coming August. That's when they came out with the Avenir and the Celeste uh, sewing machine and the Celeste embroidery machine. So Quilt for Joy, you got your Janome M17. Oh, as a floor my girl. Okay. Okay. I was thinking you got a multi-needle machine, but I like that. I like that. That was a good deal. That was a good deal because I know that Janome M17 was not cheap. That was not a cheap machine, and that is a nice machine. So again, just like I was saying, check around with the different um, with the different dealers, and just you see something you want, see what kind of price they can give you, because you might be able to get it at a reasonable more reasonable price than the manufacturer suggested retail price, because those prices are off the chain. That 24,000 plus, 20,000 plus is no, that's just too much. That's too much for a multi-needle machine. Definitely too much for a single needle machine. Um, and Pearl said you got a steal deal because I have seen the price of that machine. Yeah, it is an expensive machine. I know it was up at 24 plus when it first came out. What it is now, I don't know, but that was a pretty doggone good deal. So congratulations on that. Um, so any other pet peeves that you guys have that we didn't cover? I there is a list of what 15 I believe I have. Yeah, bird nesting. Everybody knows how to get rid of a bird nest. I hope. And Quill for Joy said, "Thank you. I think the shop was hurting and needed to make payroll. It was a giveaway price and no ta Oh my word! Yeah, yeah, they were hurting. In the past, brother does 3 years, then a new name machine. So this year, maybe the Avenir 2 trade in are usually warranted. You know, they may come up with an Avenir 2, but I'm a little skeptical, and the reason I'm saying that is because when the Avenir first came out, they had some glitches, and it took them a minute to get the kinks out. So I would be a little surprised if they came up with a brand new or an upgraded Avenir this year, but you never know. But I don't think they did as well as they had hoped with their new 10 needle machine, because you never really see people talk about it. The 1060W is just like the PR 1055X. It just some minor differences. It looks the same. It's basically the same machine. They added the puck font onto the fonts. They added just a, I can't even remember. I have the little brochure somewhere, but it's not a lot. Did I keep it or throw it away? I may have thrown it away because I knew I wasn't gonna get it. Didn't want it. I think I threw it away. But anyway, the the changes or the additions or whatever for the new 10 needle machine was so minute. I think they got a lot of unhappy people, and so I haven't seen a whole lot of promotion. I was in the brother dealership over the holidays down in Florida, and the woman never mentioned that machine to me, not one time. She was trying to sell the Avenir. She never mentioned that 10 needle machine, about trading up or exchanging. Because I did tell her I had the PR 1055X, and I guess she said, well, you don't need this one. So she never even mentioned that machine. I was surprised because I'm like, usually they'll be saying, don't you want to upgrade to the newest? And nope, wasn't not one word, didn't go anywhere near that machine. And I was surprised. Her goal was to sell me the Avenir, and then she was also trying to sell me a sewing machine, because we were just talking about different things, just a regular sewing machine, a Janome, or the Avenir. And I was just looking. I went in there looking for uh, a luminaire at a reasonable price, but she didn't have any. So that was that on that. Yeah. But what I was asking about machine problems, some of the things that they're talking about for pet peeves would be bird nesting, which is can be very, very, very frustrating if you get a bird nest. You got to you need to have the equipment. You need to have the bird nest toolkit. If you don't have one, you need to look it up and get one. And I'm not saying, okay, whatever the influencer says, bye bye. I bought mine and I don't regret it. If you don't have the tool kit, then you need to have like an exacto knife or something with a long blade, because you got to get up under there and cut that thread. And the kit has the exacto knife in it and a hook that helps you get it out. And then you got to clean that whole throat plate out, and then look at your threading and your needle to hopefully get rid of getting another bird nest. Thread breaks, check your thread. Sometimes you can have old thread that's rotten, it will break. A lot of times it can be your needle. Your needle will shred your thread and you'll get breaks. Also, look at how it's threaded. That could cause breaks as well. Um, False thread sensor alarms. I have not had that happen to me, so I don't know how that works. Not how that works, but I haven't had a false thread sensor alarm on my machine. When my machine, I do have the monitor, and it'll tell me thread break is what the monitor says, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a thread break. That's just a generic warning, because sometimes it can simply be your bobbin is empty, something along that line. So, but it does let you know there's an issue with your stitching. You need to look at it and fix it. Thread problems can be metallic thread shredding. That again can be your needle. The larger the needle hole, the better it is. The slower the machine is stitching, the better it is. The longer the path is for your thread to go down helps, because it helps the thread to unwind. If you're using a multi-needle machine, then put your metallic thread on the end needle. Don't put it in the middle, because the vibration will make it wind around all the other thread. Learn that the hard way. Put it on the end. This either end is fine. And I use King Star. That's my go-to metallic thread, and I tend not to have any problems with that. But whatever you use that works, but that helps. Tension issues. Tension issues are not something that I have experienced a lot, but you can adjust your tension if you have a single needle machine, whatever. Usually you only have to push a button or whatever, change the tension, check it out, see if that works. If you have a multi-needle machine, usually you'll have to turn the knobs and stuff, so it's not as precise, and you have to just kind of play with it. I don't tweak my tension. Rarely have I ever had to tweak my tension, but you may occasionally. And then also the bobbin case tension, that little screw that's in there, you may have to loosen or tighten that depending upon what's happening. Um, Running out of thread in the middle of a design. It's not cost effective, but I save my bobbins. What I do, if I'm going to stitch something that I know is going to be a long stitch, I will just go ahead and put a new bobbin in there, because I hate having to, especially if I got a sweatshirt or something and you got to be trying to get up under there to see the bobbin and stuff. I just put a new bobbin in, be done with it. But the old bobbin that's not empty, I keep them, and those are the ones that I use when I know I don't have a whole lot to stitch, and I'll probably be able to use this half bobbin or quarter bobbin or whatever. My machine doesn't have a sensor on it that tells me my bobbin is about to run out. Some machines do. I love that feature on those machines. My machine does not. It just lets the puppy run out. It tells you you got a thread break, which means check and see what's wrong. It does not tell you that your bobbin is out. If it does, and anybody's on here that has a machine and they know that they can make the machine tell you when the bobbin is out, let me know, because I'm not aware. I don't think our machine, the PR1055X, I don't think it does that. Um, and cheap thread lint buildup. If you use cotton threads, you're gonna get a lot of lint. If you do use cheaper threads, you can get a lot of lint. That can cause you to have your bird nest. So just make sure you clean your needle throat plate often, and get all the little lint and pieces of thread and all that kind of stuff away from the cutter and stuff, and that should help. We talked about design issues. Too many color changes drives me crazy, especially on a single needle machine. So that's just something you have to deal with when you make up your mind what design you're going to use, if you want to go through that. um, Excessive jump stitches and poor quality digitizing, they kind of go hand in hand a little bit, because what I have noticed, people that are really good in digitizing, like the design houses that I usually use a lot, they normally don't have a lot of designs that have excessive jump stitches. They do all have some jump stitches, but not the kinds that I have seen buying designs off of Etsy. I have bought designs off of Etsy that had absolutely horrendous amount of jump stitches, that it was just, you have got to be kidding situation. You have got to be, because I would stitch and stop and cut jump stitches, stitch and stop and cut jump stitch. I wouldn't just go through the whole thing and stitch. I would just kind of try to keep up with them, because I can't stand jump stitches. That is at the top of my list of pet peeves. Hooping and stabilizers. You got to know what stabilizer to use for your fabric and for your design, or you can definitely get some puckering if it is not hooped or stabilized correctly. One thing that I have learned, especially with like a satin, if you do the binding stitch around it with your stabilizer and you do the binding stitch, that can help you tremendously with the puckering. I learned that the hard way, and it does work, and that is what I do. Those of you that do those graduation sashes, those silk ones, put your design on there. Put your stabilize on there, do your binding stitches, then do your design. You'll come out a whole lot better. A whole lot better. It works a lot better. Hi, Sean. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Let me see who else stopped in. I think that's all. And Sharon, hi, how are you? I don't think I spoke to you either, Sharon Davenport. So, hi, how are you? Da. Let me see. I think it's just you two. Yep, yep. That stopped in while I was talking. So, thank you for stopping in. Do appreciate it. And Cindy, you were saying that when you quilt edge to edge on your flatbed for thread breaks, I was told by your dealer to raise the pressure foot height. It works. I just have to put it back at the prior height. You have to remember to put it back. Yeah, yeah. And who is this? Becky. Becky said your two single needle machines uh, uh, let you know um, when the bobbin is out, I'm assuming, but the PR1055X does not. Yeah, it don't. It don't tell you. And Marina, you said you have had really bad luck on some of the designs you purchased from Creative Fabrica. Lots of jumps. I have never bought a design of any kind, sublimation or embroidery, from Creative Fabrica. I'm probably the only one in in the world. I have been on their site a long time ago. I don't even go anywhere near them now. Why? Because I just forgot about it. That's the only reason. I just forgot about it. But I have never. Uh, I think I did purchase some sublimation designs from them once. Never an embroidery design because it was the longest time before I even knew they had them. But I just never, I don't know why I never got into Creative Fabrica. And people I know were just, that was the go-to place. I don't know if it still is now because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. But I just never got into Creative Fabrica. That's interesting. I never did. And Cindy, you said I have you've never sent a quilt out to be quilted. You enjoy that part of the sewing. That's good. And Angela, thank you so much. I don't know why I keep forgetting, but yes, you guys, please hit the button. There's the like button. That's very important for the channel. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and do plan to come back every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central. And also, I know I had mentioned this earlier in the chat that I will go back to doing my tutorial videos and stuff. I plan to be able to start doing that sometime in April. Now that I have my room a little better organized and I can figure out where I'm going to put my tripod and all of that kind of stuff. Because I tell you, I was like, where am I going to do all this stuff? And you got to have your camera up and your lights and all of that kind of stuff. And I just did not have it. And I even have my table out all the way now and stuff. So I've made room now where I can because my room is small. I don't have a big room. It's just a little room. I thought it was a bigger room than the one before, but I think they're about the same size. This may be a little bigger because I do have more stuff in here, be honest about it, more tables. But I think I have figured out a way to be able to get my tripod up and all that kind of stuff. So we will be going back to doing those things pretty soon. That is the plan. And if I don't do it, y'all nag me and remind me because I got to do that. And quilt For Joy, do you do puff embroidery? Yes, I do. I have done puff embroidery on caps naturally, and I've done them on t shirts and hoodies. I have yet to do any on um, jacket backs, which I've been thinking about doing. I haven't done a jacket back in a minute, and I want to make. I do have some jackets that I could do, so I think I'm gonna do one or two coming up pretty soon. But yes, I do puff embroidery. I also do puff um, vinyl. So I have made some hoodies for people using the puff vinyl, and they turned out pretty good. And also the puff metallic vinyl, which is also pretty cool. So yes, I do both. Um, I do rhinestone. I do puff embroidery. I do a little. I dabble in a lot of stuff. I do sublimation, shirts and cups. I don't do DTF as far as doing the actual DTF itself, but I've used DTF transfers. So I've done that, and I've created things on Canva and sent to have it done as made into a DTF, which I probably will continue to do that. I don't see any time in the near future where I will be actually trying to get a DTF machine. I don't think that I need one, even if I had the room, and I don't, or the money, and I don't. So I don't really have that desire because you can, it's so many places that do DTF transfers. In my opinion, for me, it's more economical to just design what I want or whatever, send it out and get it done and sent back. And they usually do it pretty quickly. And I haven't had any issues with that. So I don't do that. But yeah, I do a lot of different stuff. And Quilt for Joy, you said you haven't heard of the puff vinyl before? Caesar, Siser, Caesar has puff vinyl. And it looks just like regular vinyl, but you heat press it according to the instruction, and it actually puffs up. And it's really, really cute. I don't have anything because I made them and either sold them or gave them away. I did several of them for my grandson because he's an aspiring rapper, and I did his rap name, and I did it in monotone, black on black, and that turned out really nice, really nice. And I've done several things like that. But yeah, they have puff vinyl, and now they have them in so many different colors. At first, you could only get them in gold and silver, and now you can get them in all kinds of colors now. So I have gold, silver, and red, white, I believe. Gold, silver, red, white, and black. But you can get them in pastel colors and all kinds of stuff right now. And Cindy, what software do I use? If you're referring to embroidery software, I use 99% of the time Embrilliance. That's my go to. I don't digitize anything. I have digitizing softwares with an S on it, way more than I need for a person that does not digitize. But that's the other thing that I have made um, a goal for myself to learn at least the elementary level of digitizing. I never ever want to be a digitizer, but I do want to learn how to do some digitizing to make things a little bit more uh, personalized. So yeah, that's something I want to do. But I use Embrilliance 99% of the time. Now I do have other softwares that I have purchased. I have several different softwares that I purchased through Dime because they do their little monthly thing and they tell you to buy it. And I got hooked on that for a while. I would watch their demos and stuff and buy their little software that they're selling, the cut and stitch and their monogram and something else I bought. I think I bought two or three different softwares from them, but I don't do that anymore. Um, but what I bought, I like. I like what it will do, but it's a little bit harder to use than the Embrilliance. Embrilliance is a little easier for me to use, but that's what I use. I use Embrilliance. I never used the when I first started embroidering. I saw somebody online, don't remember who the person was, that said they used Embrilliance. I didn't know anything about software, what you need to do software with. So I bought the software. I bought Essential. Then when I started watching Eve, she was selling So What Pro. I decided not to buy So What Pro because I already had Essential and I didn't see the need for both. So, a lot of people bought the So What Pro because it's inexpensive and it does a lot. So I've been told, but I don't know anything about it, never bought it. So I have stuck with Embrilliance and I bought the Essential, then I bought Enthusiast because I wanted to do knockdown stitches. I wanted to do split designs and different things like that you could do with Essential and could not with Enthusiast and you couldn't do with Essential. Then I bought the Patch Artist because I like doing patches. Of course, I bought Thumbnailer right away. That just allows you to see your designs and stuff. It's like a catalog. What else did I get? Mm, I think that's it. But then I ended up buying Stitch Artist 1, 2, and 3, which I said I wasn't going to do, but I ended up buying Stitch Artist 1, 2, and 3. So I'm now in the process trying to learn how to use it a little bit. It seems to be a lot friendlier than some of the other ones. But I also have Hatch, and I also have Brother PE Design 11. I've tried Hatch a little bit. I haven't tried PE Design 11 at all. So why do I have it? I don't know. Somebody said buy it and I bought it. But anyway, that's what I have. But I use them brilliant. So hopefully that answered. Any other questions? Let me see. That is pretty much what I wanted to talk about tonight. So thank you guys. This was a good chat. And Sean, you said I do love Embrilliance. I have all of the modules, and you also have Sowa Pro. Yeah, I know a lot of people that really love Sowa Pro, and they said it works really well. But like I said, since I had already gotten Embrilliance Essential when I found out about Sowa Pro, I just decided I didn't need to try to learn both. So I just kept the Embrilliance and did not buy Sowa Pro. So I'm like you, Sean. I have all the modules. I don't have density repair. I don't have their there's a couple other ones that they have that I don't have, but the necessary modules I do have them. I do have them. So I love Embrilliance. It is one easy um, one easy software I think to learn how to use, and it can do practically anything that you want to do with the editing of your design. And if you do want to get into digitizing, I think their digitizing um, software is pretty much easier than most. And Quilt for Joy, thank you for the fun chat. And Sean, I use a Mac and Embrilliance is compatible. Yes, yes. It's one of the few embroidery software that is compatible with a Mac. For those of you that use Mac, it is compatible. So I see people are dropping off, which understandable because it is now been 2 hours. It is 8:58 where I am, so it's 9:58 on the East Coast, which is usually when we shut down. So again, thank you guys for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Do not forget to give me a thumbs up. It is very, very important. It does help with the channel. It helps the channel to grow. I am on a mission now. I am so close to my 2,500 um, subscribers. I only need like 28 more, something along that line. So put the word out. Help me get that 2,500. Then I'm going to have a giveaway. I got to figure out how to do the giveaway with Restream because they don't have that little lottery thing. So I got to figure out, it's got to be a way to do it, but I don't know what that is. But I'll figure it out. And then I'll be working on my next goal, which is 5,000. I got to hit that 5,000 because I truly believe once I hit 5,000, then I'm gonna just shoot up like that. So, got to get that. So, Robin, you're going to be late. That's cool. No problem. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Those of you that are with the Social Society crew. And the rest of you guys, I will see and talk to you hopefully next Tuesday night. So, you guys take care and have a beautiful, wonderfully blessed rest of your week. And I will talk to you guys later. Good night.